Okay, this is a very long question, and it's going to tap into some answers I've given before. But I wanted to it was a questions, and I wanted to make sure I give you guys the answers to your questions. So I'm just going to read this. It's a fairly long one, so here we go. Hey, John, I've been researching near-death experiences, and I certainly want to start practicing my intentions into learning how to have an out-of-body experience someday. One thing I have been curious about when it comes to us individuals here on Earth is, do you think some of us might come here under the agreement to have very limited to no direct spiritual experiences with which to help us learn and navigate? It seems like so many people I know have had experiences they would consider spiritual, but I honestly have a tough time identifying if I've ever experienced something similar. I don't know if it's because I'm skeptical or too willing to try and explain it away. And perhaps that is why I'm not having the experiences I am ultimately searching for. Thank you for the time you've taken in the past to reply to my questions, and any insight on this one would be just as appreciated. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. It's very nice. You are quite welcome. Forgive me if I tear this apart because there's a lot in here. I've been researching near-death experiences, and then this is, I want, you use the word want there. Your desire, your want means you don't have it. Your faith is in the fact that it doesn't happen, that it's not happening. And then you actually double down on that and say, you want to have it someday, right? So you have chosen to put it off. And that's just a creative choice of yours. But I want you to be aware that you're choosing to put it off and realize the future is completely unset. It is completely malleable. And because it's completely unset and malleable, that whole beginning sentence is moot. Because you may say, I'm going to put it off to the future, but the future being unset and malleable, it's in limbo. It's in a state of just not happening because you're not actively creating it, and you're also not actively, and you're actively choosing to push it off. So realize that out of body experiences can happen today. Out of body experiences can happen in this moment. Out of body experiences are just a matter of shifting consciousness, and it's not a hard thing unless you believe it. Now, let's go to the next thing. One thing I've been curious about when it comes to us individuals here on Earth is, do you think some of us come here under the agreement to have very little or no direct experiences? So let's go back to the word agreement. Okay, this is a New Age dogma that came about in the 1980s, and this idea of agreements or contracts or any of that stuff, the basis of that is in a modern New Age guru has decided that this is, you come here under agreements and contracts and things of that nature. I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form. I believe that we can choose potentials, but I don't think there's ever an agreement. And that to me is an important element, because when you're making an agreement, you're actually declaring an external God, and you're one with God. So for me, the word agreement really stands out as a huge red flag for me, because that means you have chosen to give power to an agreement rather than choosing to be the creator of your experience. So agreement to have little to no direct spiritual experience with which to help us learn and navigate. So that's your belief. Okay, you know, some of us meaning you, come here under the agreement, you know what I just said about agreements, to have limited or no direct spiritual experience. So if I take out the agreement part of that and I just take it down to your basic sentence, some of us have very limited to no direct spiritual experiences with which to help us learn and navigate. So you believe spiritual experiences are here to help you learn and navigate, and you also believe that you don't have them. So this is your faith. This is where your faith is. Whatever you ask in God's name is granted if you have faith. So this is not an issue, something external saying you can't. This is you believing you can't, and the physical world is showing you the external that you can't. And so it's literally not about something external saying, no, you don't have that experience. It's literally you saying, I don't have that experience, so the outer world shows you that you can't. You need to start thinking we all need to start thinking from the aspect of the outer world being an image of our belief. And when you change your belief, you change your outcomes. It seems like so many people I know have had experiences they would consider spiritual, but I honestly have a tough time. I'm just going to stop there. I have a tough time. I am having a tough time. I am God's name having a tough time. Whatever you ask in God's name is granted. So it's going to be tough for you. So this is you double downing on the fact that you don't have those experiences, and the struggle and this whole concept, this whole faith is based upon what you're experiencing, your subconscious beliefs, right? And so you have to step out of the physical in a way that's interesting. You need to stay very present, but choose what's coming into your present moment instead of staying very present and choosing the residual effect of all your past belief creating. Because if you're constantly focused on how things are and how things were, you're doomed to repeat them. You have to, in this moment, say, okay, this is how it is, but I am doing this. I am receiving this. I am receiving the complete knowledge of my spiritual being. I am receiving spiritual experiences that validate my belief in spirituality. That is a very different thing than I am having a tough time. And now let's jump to the next one. I'm honestly having a tough time identifying if I have ever had something similar. So that you're having a hard time identifying it because of the next line. I don't know if it is because I am, God's name, skeptical or too willing to try and explain it away. Well, skeptical and too willing to explain it away are the same thing. You're willing to explain it away because you're skeptical, and you have declared being skeptical because you declared it in God's name. I am skeptical. And so your belief of being skeptical is going to show you all of the reasons not to believe it, all of the reasons to not have the experience, because you have chosen to be skeptical, and God said, okay, experience skepticism. You are the creator of your experience, and you have chosen in God's name to put faith in being skeptical. And so God shows you skepticism. And your next line is I try to explain it away. Well, that's part of skepticism, right? And perhaps, now here's the next line you say, perhaps this is why I am not having the experiences I am ultimately searching for. So in that sentence, you invoke the name of God twice, and the first time was in not having experiences, and the second part of that was in putting faith in searching. So when you seek a path will be laid before you until you turn your path back to yourself. You never find the doorway. You've got to come back to yourself and say, okay, no, I am not searching. I am receiving. It's coming to me. The outcomes that you're looking for, you never get to in the future. The future is just an unmalleable, uncertain place where we set goals for future moments. But those future experiences, we never experience them in the future. We only experience them in the present. So those experiences are coming to you depending on your faith here in the present moment. So you have to get very, very present. I am is not I will be. where I was. I am is this moment. And when you say, I am skeptical, I am having a hard time, I am searching for, I am not having the experiences. You're telling God that you don't, and you won't, and you can't. And so God says here, don't, won't, and can't. Merry Christmas. Right? There's your creation. You are the creator of your experience. You have to bring yourself to the space of saying, I am receiving the spiritual experiences that I have always desired. And now I am receiving the experiences so that I can validate my belief, my faith. And that's the key. You've got to change your faith from lack to receiving. And that's basically the end of the questions. The concept is really very simple. I often say, draw your time close. That means here's your past, here's your future, here's your present. Draw your time close. Bring them together, hands in prayer, right? You're bringing the time into the present moment. I am here right now. And these two hands together pressed are bringing your time close and bringing you into the I am moment, the God moment. And when you bring your hands into the I am moment, this is just a representation. I'm not saying you have to do that, but this is explaining, bringing the hands together is explaining, bringing your time close, bringing yourself to the I am, to the here and now. And so bring yourself to the I am, choose a different faith, hold on to that faith until it becomes habitual, and then you'll experience your experiences. And that's my thought on that. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. The John of New channel is solely funded by your generous donations and purchases of private readings and merchandise. To help out, go to johnofnew.com or use the donation link in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.